The pictures can be added to your final report selectively. So there's what you see in the middle of the page here. There's a num and select controls and a comment at the bottom. So all of those are used to provide additional documentation for what's going to go on your report. So I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to go back upper left hand, and you see all of these pictures, but I don't want all these pictures in the customer report. I only want 4 of these pictures in the customer report. I want in this case, I want the second one to be first. So I'm going to click on the second one, and I'm going to select it. So I clicked on the select, and the number is number 1. So you see here I selected number 1, and that means that the number is the order in which it will be printed on the report. So I'm going to save those changes. Again, I clicked in the upper left hand going backwards, and now you see that number 1 is actually at the top of this list. So as you select and number them, the list of the pictures is ordered by the order in which the order that you've given them. So picture number 2, I'm going to select, and I'm going to set it to be number 2. And I'm also going to annotate it because I want to highlight the fact that there are 2 heat pumps out here. Save that. And again, upper left-hand corner to back up. And then I want to show those 2 devices. So I'm going to take this one, and this one had an annotation on it. I want to get rid of the annotation. So in the menu on the upper right-hand side, there is a clear button. And that clear button will actually clear the annotation. So we got rid of that. We're selecting it, and it's number 4, or number 3 rather. Upper left-hand side, save the changes. And I'm going to add one more, which is the other system. I'm going to select it, make it number 4. And in addition, I'm going to add a comment. Needs tuning. Save that. So I selected 4 pictures. Those 4 pictures that are at the top of this list of multiple pictures here. And I'm going to jump to reports because ultimately the outcome that you're after is a report. And so we're going to talk about reports for a little bit here. The Residential Energy Survey Report, which is number 3, is the primary customer report. And we'll talk about the others as we get through here. So I'm going to just click on it, and it's going to actually send that picture, those pictures, and all the data that was in here to a web server that we have that actually generates the picture. We needed the power of a web server to do that. And then that PDF, the resulting report, which is a PDF, gets sent back to your device, which is what's here, and then saved with your device. So this is the standard Residential Energy Survey report. This one's branded for electric cities, but the Monroe and Wilson and E-Conservation are all branded with their icons in the upper right-hand side. And the report contents are in the first couple pages, and then the pictures that we talked about are in the following pages. And there's only 4 because we only selected 4, and they're the order that we selected them. The annotation is included. And the comments that you see on the right-hand side, front of house, back of house, there's no comment on the cooling system one, but I added a comment on the second cooling system one, which is needs tuning. So that's how you generate the reports. You go to the report section and you click on the report that you want to generate. When you look at the reports, you'll see on the first, second, and fourth one, there is no green generated on listed below the report, and there is no green arrow or chevron on the right-hand side. Number 3 does have a green generated on and a chevron. So the green indicates that a report has been generated and what date and time it was generated on. And that is now saved with the audit. So when you save this to Dropbox, it will be saved with the audit. That green indicates that it's been generated before, and so if I click on it, if I click on number 3 now, you'll see that it immediately comes up. It did not have to regenerate it because it had already been generated and saved. So it's very quick to pull it up a second time. But that does have one implication that you just need to be aware of, and that is that if it's already been generated and you're just opening up the old view of it, then any edits that you may have made to the audit will not be on that report. You have to delete the existing generated one and regenerate it to get any additional edits that you've added. The way that you delete that is like other places. You do a right swipe in that section, in this case number 3, Residential Energy Survey. If you do a right swipe, you get a delete button. I click delete, and you see that the green went away. The green generated on and the green chevron. Now if I click on that, it will actually go through several dialog boxes telling you that it's regenerating that report.
Rich, if I might just interject, for those of you who are not familiar with right swipe, it's just like it sounds. You just take your finger right on that report bar and just swipe it to the right, and then that delete red button will show up and you can hit delete. So.
Good point. Yeah, the swipes are just a single finger where you put your finger down on the screen and drag it to the right-hand side while keeping it on the screen. So in this case, I'm going to go through these other reports very quickly. The data summary with images is exactly that. It's a summary of all the data and all the images. And that is really for your internal use. It is virtually a copy of the summary page, which had all this data in one long view. So this is a very good way to review all the data, and what data, if there's missing data, then it shows up like here in the lighting, which is in the left-hand side, about a third of the way down. You'll see that number of fluorescence is blank. Well, there was no data for it, so it shows number of fluorescence blank. But that tells you that there's missing data there. And then all of the pictures are shown in this report, not just the ones you selected for the customer, but all of them. Because again, this is designed to be your internal review of the data. So that's report number 1. Report number 2 is an image summary, which shows 4 images per page, and it's just the images.
Rich?
Yep.
We're seeing Dell.
Yep, I see that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thanks. So the image report just shows all the images. It's just a convenient way to review all your images, and if there's annotation, like in this one, then the annotation shows up on those as well. So that's report number 2. Report number 3 we talked about. That's actually the primary report for the customer. And the 4th report is a customer report that has just the images on 2 per page. So if there's a reason to give larger images to the customer, and this is branded with the Residential Energy Survey and the organization branding on the upper right-hand side. So we felt that in some cases there may be a need for having larger pictures that are given to the homeowner. So in this case now what you see is all 4 reports have a green generated on and a green chevron, indicating that all 4 reports were created. I'm not going to go through all the menu items. I had sent out a quick one-page reference on the menu items, but in this case I'll show you that there's also a delete all in this. So you can see on the lower right there's a delete all. So I can do these individually and delete each of them by doing a right swipe. And if I click if I do a right swipe, the delete shows up. If I click anywhere on that same item but not on the red delete, the red delete will go away. And in this case, I can delete all of them. Yes?
Okay. Could you go to the Residential Energy Survey?
The report?
Yes.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure exactly when you were going to cover this, but the screen that was just there before this one, in the upper right-hand corner, there's that little forward button there.
Oh, yes. Yep. So if I click on the report, you'll see that there's a done on the upper left-hand side, and on the right-hand side there's a little box with a forward arrow, and that indicates what you can do with this report. And in this case, you can mail that report, so you can do an email of that report. There's also a way to print this that we still need to work through with Brian to get that refined, but the main thing is that you can email this report off your device to the customer or to yourself or to the program administrator, whoever needs a copy of this report. Is that what you're trying to get at, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
I also have one question on that. This is Rob.
Sure.
Do you have to be on the internet to print at that point if you want to leave
the printing, we'll come back to the printing. The printing is, if you're printing locally, there is a particular setup that you have to go through, so it's not as straightforward as you would like. We do it with our staff here, but we've just found it challenging to set up. So we're working with, Brian has a printer and a setup for that, and we actually have yet to set that up correctly. So local printing can be done. We do it in our staff, but it's tricky to do. What we have found is that if short of that, then you can email it to yourself and print it in your office, or you can go to the Dropbox account directly and pull it out of there, because all the data, that once you synchronize, all the data is on the Dropbox account.
Okay.
So I wish I had a more satisfactory automatic answer. Obviously, you have to have a printer, but in addition to that, for portable printing, it's a little challenging. Now, if you're set up to do printing from your iPad in the office, where you have a printer that is set up to run with or connect with an iOS device, Apple iOS device, then it's no problem. The challenge that I'm talking about is not office printing, because that's easy to do. The challenge is if you have a battery-powered Hewlett-Packard portable printer in the field, connecting up to it is the hard part.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is it possible to have this program installed on a laptop or desktop computer? And
no, this is strictly a mobile device application, so it cannot run under Windows or Apple iOS. I wish it could, but it can't.
Hey, Rich, this is Laura.
Yes.
I want to make one point about the deleting, because I know with some people they can be afraid that they're going to delete all the data that they've collected. So the only thing that's being deleted, just to be clear, is the report, and it's easy enough to just regenerate it. So if you're wanting to add to the report or refine it in any way, you would delete the report, you would go in, all the data is still there, you would add what you want, and then you would regenerate.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Good point.
I just, hitting that delete button, I don't want anyone to think, oh my gosh, everything that we've collected in that is, is going to somehow disappear. So all that's being deleted is the report that's ready to be shared with the homeowner or with whomever.
Right. It's whatever item you're on. So in the case of reports, when you do a right swipe and delete, it will delete just that one report. Again, not the data, but just the report, and you can regenerate the report. In the case of the summary view that I have up now, there are 3 cooling systems. I generated that 3rd cooling system just as an example, but I'm going to delete it because I don't really want it. So again, I can right swipe on that 3rd cooling system, and what you see is a delete button shows up, and everything that's going to get deleted is highlighted, which is only the 3rd instance of the cooling system, not the 1st or the 2nd. So I'm going to click on the delete, and it goes away, and now I have 2 cooling systems.
Okay,
so
right.
A very similar process. You only delete the thing that's highlighted. And now I'm going to go back and actually show it back at